A colleague at SOAS has written about what he calls narcissistic compassion. Compassion for those like us. The flip side, of course, is lack of compassion for the other. We expect violence in the Middle East. Indeed, we're immune to it, as opposed to when an obscure town in Southern California is hit again, narcissistic compassion. Judith Butler has discussed a similar phenomenon, examining the practices of grief. Perhaps it's useful to consider how the metrics of grievability, how they work, why the concert or cafe in Paris affect us in the collective Western gut in ways that other targets in Beirut or Ankara do not.
Is it okay to feel more empathy for a victim in Paris than it would be to feel sympathy or empathy for a victim of similar attacks in Beirut or in Syria or in Tunis or in Mali? Do you have a problem of moral or double standards, ethically speaking? Is the life of a young Parisian more valuable than the life of a young Syrian? So clearly it isn't. I still want to distinguish between two things, so the level of personal ethics and the level of political ethics. I think as personal ethics, I think it's perfectly fine and human to have concentric circles of empathy. You don't want to be like there's this American philosopher called Peter Singer who thinks that we should have exactly the same amount of empathy and compassion for everyone in the world. But clearly, if we behave like that as individuals, we'd be unable to care for those who we should care for. Okay? So I think concentric circles of empathy are okay. But if you move to the political level, to the collective level of collective ethics, I think things look quite different.
How could we understand the personality or the behaviors of these people? And I tried to list a few things, a few lines probably to research. The first one is that probably you need to have great contempt for the law. What is legal or illegal certainly does not matter. So how could it not matter? Well, it does not matter because it does not apply to me. Why does it not apply to me? Because I'm slightly different. And that's where psychoanalysis brings some interesting models. The Lacanian trend of psychoanalysis suggests that actually the law is something that is actually almost created in the mind of the very young child, from the moment that he or she managed to move from 2 to 3 and insert the wish or intentions of a third party that actually we are all submitted to, and who has something that we don't have. Because if we had it, well, he would not be the boss.
A lot of very interesting stuff has been published in French and also in English about how that those youngsters have been, completely disenfranchised in their own country. And it's not again condoning their actions to say that, in fact, what Daesh seems to offer them is a community. It empowers them. It gives them social prestige and recognition that they lacked in France. I think another point about those youngsters and religion, it turns out that the more I read about it, that those people have very slim, scant links or understanding of Islam. It's not religion which drives them. As Eileen said it, just weeks and months before joining Daesh, going to Syria and coming back to France and killing innocents, they led a life of, normal youngsters, drinking, smoking, and worse than that, sometimes some of them involved in petty criminality. Mm-hmm. So how can you jump from that situation to that? So I think those characters are more similar to the kind of a Scarface character, Al Pacino, or Lacombe Lucien type of character, this milicien from Louis Ma's film. Terrorism bears the hallmark of failed integration in France. And as Cécile said, Olivier Roy, one of the experts on political Islam in France, said it, we're not here facing the radicalization of Islam, which is often the point made by the media and politicians. It is wrong in the case of the youngsters involved or associated with that, but it is about the Islamization of violence.
In the 60s and 70s, people said that the personal was political. That was one of the slogans of the time. But I would happily turn it around. It's the political who's personal. Actually, these political actions are completely linked, in my opinion, to the psychological structure of the terrorist. It's not an ideology, it's a quick fix for your narcissism.
Yeah, just a brief comment on the relationship between intelligibility, explanation, and justification. So of course, this is a phenomenon that's very hard to comprehend. And there have been other events in history, I think, that seem to have been beyond the comprehensible. But to me, it doesn't mean that outside history, in the sense that it doesn't mean that we should stop trying to make sense of them. But trying to explain them, of course, is not the same as justifying them. So I think there's a role for social scientists and psychoanalysts and political scientists and international relations theorists, etc., to explain how this is possible. But of course, it doesn't mean that to explain is to justify.